Hello and welcome to another edition of Long Beach Treasures. This show marks the end of our third year, and so welcome to the Edison Theater. You'll notice that this building was built in 1917. Some of the architectural features up there, you'll notice the cast concrete brackets below the roof line, which have been cast to look like wood. You'll notice the rich detailing between the brackets and the three lions with the shields there guarding the building. The windows on the second floor are known as shoulder-arched windows. It's quite a beautiful building, although it's not designated as a historical building. And if you look across the street, you'll see the American Hotel. The American Hotel, built in 1905, stylistically is one of the oldest buildings in the downtown commercial area. And to the west of the Edison Theater is the historic Insurance Exchange Building. This building is now being converted into lofts type apartments, and as it nears completion, we'll revisit the Insurance Exchange Building and show you what a beautiful building it's going to become. And now if you'll come with me, we'll go inside the Edison Theater and we'll meet Howard Berman, who is the artistic director for the theater. So come along and we'll go in and see the theater. And this must be Howard Berman, who is the artistic director of the theater.
It is. Hi. Nice to have you.
Thank you for letting us come and see your theater.
It's
Can
a pleasure.
we walk on in?
Let's do it.
All right. Now this is called CalRep. Is CalRep short for California Repertory Company?
California Repertory Company is the producing agency that uses this theater. That's right.
And what a repertory company, what is it?
Repertory Company is a company of actors, designers, and technicians, management people that come together as a company to produce theater.
And the Edison Theater, the name is because of?
Well, when we built the theater 5 years ago, when we built the space to be a theater 5 years ago, the university supported us in coming downtown and doing that and wanted to have something in the community that would represent the university, but there was no money. So we went to the redevelopment agency. The redevelopment agency found us this space and leased it to us for $1 a year. But we had to then create a theater within the four walls of this space. And that was going to take around $750,000 for us to do that. And just as we were about to begin construction, Edison announced that they were going public, or the state announced that the utilities agencies were going to go public. So I thought right away, Edison would probably like to curry the favor, if you will, of the community in which they are located. So we went to Edison, and they supplied a good deal of that $750,000 to help us build this space in return for putting their name on the building, and we were glad to do that.
Now, you're associated with the university.
Yes, that's right.
So are a lot of your actors in the theater arts at the university?
The company is made up of MFA students. These are graduate students.
And MFA means?
Master of Fine Arts.
Oh, okay.
These are graduate students. The average age is about 40. So most of the people in the company have had professional experience. They've come back because they want to be part of the repertory company associated with the university. They all teach part-time at the university while completing the MFA degree. And to those MFA students, we add professional actors, designers, and directors as we need them.
Because I've seen names of major stars who have appeared here.
Right. We cast first within the company as far as we can, and then when we have the needs, we have needs for a performer who we can't cast, then we go outside and we bring in everything from working actors to stars, celebrities, whatever is appropriate for a particular show.
Now, like the International City Theater, I notice this is a small theater, and I'm assuming that you have under 99 seats are under, am I correct?
I would say if you counted, you would find exactly 99.
And the reason 99 is such a magical number?
The equity, which is the actors union regulations, have a break between 99 and 100. If you go to the 100th seat, the costs of doing business escalate rapidly and would probably put us in the position where we could not do the shows at the level that we produce them now. Our production standards are very, very high. They are among the highest, if not the highest, of any 99-seat theater in Los Angeles. But if we go to that 100-seat, then the costs of the performers goes up significantly.
So it's production cost that the major factor.
It's the major factor. There's a second factor, and that is the seats in the Edison are totally flexible. That is, they're all on modular units. We can play circular, we can play arena, we can play thrust, we can play against one wall, the other wall, the back wall, 2 walls, 3 walls, so that every time an audience comes into this space, it's completely redesigned. We not only
so
design
the seats are not always like this?
No, this is the first time they've ever been like this, actually. Completely flexible. So we not only just design scenery for the shows, we completely redesign the space. So when an audience member walks in, it will look different every time. And 99 seats helps us with that flexibility as well. If we had more seats in here, we wouldn't be able to do that.
Is your scenery minimalistic?
No, but it's highly theatrical. And so we go to a very theatrical base. Now, the show that we're seeing that's up right now is minimal because of the nature of that show, but not always. Sometimes this place is just crammed full with scenery.
And I think you have an O. Henry show coming up in December?
We have an O. Henry Christmas, which is now the 10th year, going to the 10th year of it. It's become a bit of a Long Beach tradition. We created it here 10 years ago. We've produced it every year for 10 years. It's now done all over the country by other theaters. It's also done in Europe some. It's been translated into Dutch. It's done in Holland. And for the last several years, it just totally coincidentally is co-sponsored in part by Charter Communications, so we're very pleased with that.
How often do you change productions?
Normally during the year we do 5 productions during the season, which runs from September to May. So a show will run up to a month, 6 weeks at most, and then change to the next show.
Do you do any avant-garde productions?
We do, you probably call them all avant-garde to a certain degree. We do highly theatrical shows utilizing metaphor, and we try to do shows that are original. Mostly they're new works. We're not a museum theater. There's a place in the world for museum theaters, and I'm happy to go to many of them. But that's not what we do. We do new works. We do them in a highly theatrical context. And we attract an audience who wants to see, I hope, intelligent theater done in the kind of way that we do. We're not the theater that's going to do the normal community theater or other professional theater kind of fare. Again, those are fine, but that's not what we do.
Do you have any Long Beach or local playwrights who do any of the writes any of the scripts?
We have had quite a number of local playwrights do scripts with us over the last 15 years, sure.
You know, I was in here once when Long Beach Heritage had a meeting here, and I thought I remember a pit in the middle of the floor.
That was the most expensive part of rebuilding this theater, was digging the pit. The entire space that we're looking at has a basement below it, which allows us to do scenery that comes up through the floor or down into the floor. It also allows us to put machinery down there a lot so that we can make scenery move and do sort of magical things. The scenery behind me, that stoop over there, in fact, moves across the entire stage. It's on tracks, and that basement allows us to do that. It's the only theater in Los Angeles that has that capability.
The production you're doing now, this is the arrangement for the theater for that particular production?
For that production, and only for that production. It will change as the productions change as well.
This is really sort of a quaint, neat little theater. I like the intimacy of it.
Yeah, it's a fabulous space. We have a lot of guests that come in here and work here and go away saying, it may be the most interesting small theater, a 99-seat theater in the Los Angeles area. It's superbly well equipped. We put a lot of money into lighting and sound and the technology and the lighting board and all of that. And with the ability to rearrange the seats and reconfigure the space all of the time, it's a very inviting space.
And you've been here how long now?
Well, I started CalRep in 1989, so I've been with it its entire life so far.
So it's not a Johnny-come-lately theatrical production.
By the standards of small theaters, we are very long-lived. 15 years is a long time to go, and we're healthy, and we're drawing good audiences, and I don't see why it's not going to go for another 15 and a lot more after that.
Why do you say that 99-seat theaters have a short lifespan?
Well, it's hard to make money in a 99-seat theater. You just can't you can't sell enough tickets at that size, at a reasonable dollar amount to attract a large enough audience to pay your bills. We, in effect, since we are connected to the university, we don't have a lot of the bills that most of the other theaters have. All of the principal directors and designers all teach at the university, so that's where the salaries come from. If we had to pay everyone salaries, including the artistic director's salary first out of the box office, we couldn't do it. So most theaters are not able to do what we are able to do. We are, in fact, subsidized by the university to be able to do what we do. So we can pay for sceneries, costumes, props, and lights from ticket sales. We can't pay for the salaries. Other theaters can't do that. They have to pay salaries as well.
You can't have a lot of storage in this building, can you?
No, and that's become a problem. We are, in fact, looking for storage now in the downtown area. We have storage at the university. It's not enough as we continue to build things and save them and try to keep them for other productions. We are running quickly. We're running out of space.
Could we maybe walk back and
You
see
bet.
the rest of
Yeah,
the theater?
absolutely.
I guess we won't fall into the pit.
No, not in this show anyway.
Dark colors, is there a reason for that?
Sure, so it doesn't reflect light. When the doors are open, we don't want to reflect light back into the theater.
Are we going up topside here?
We are. Get some lights on, we can make our way up. This was last used as a photo, Weber's camera place, and it was filled with photography equipment and so forth, and we had to have all of that taken out.
So these are the dressing rooms?
These are the
there?
dressing rooms. This is the ladies' dressing room, and Edison carpenters very obligingly built all of these cabinets for us in their own cabinet shops, and they're really first rate. And then this is the men's dressing room that has as a distinct advantage, it opens out into a little
Balcony?
deck, sort of balcony with a staircase down there, which sort of interestingly enough is used in the film It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World that Stanley Kramer directed. And if you ever see that film, you'll see Spencer Tracy and several other people running up into this back door.
In fact, I watched them film that here in Long Beach.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
I won't say how many
Yeah,
years
that
ago.
was a while ago, yeah.
Wow, this is a very, very nice little area.
It is. And then the control booth.
Okay, you said this is the control room?
This is the control room, the nerve center, if you will, of the theater. In it we have the lighting and the sound control and the video control. This is the $100,000 light board, which a few years ago would have taken up rooms, about 5 rooms this size with dimmers. Now it's all computerized. And we have television monitors so that the stage managers, there's a television camera showing the stage at all times, the stage managers can watch the show live on closed-circuit television so that they can call the cues as necessary.
Boy, looking out the window there sure is I don't know what it is. It's just, that must be the lights, is it?
That's the lighting grid. We had to bring in our own steel beams and welders to put that in place because it's freestanding because of earthquake issues. It's not connected in any way to the building other than the floor. And so that was a major operation when we had that put in.
Well, I want to thank you for letting us come and see your theater, and I hope that everyone comes and sees an O. Henry Christmas and all the other productions that you do here, because we need to help out our local theaters and be a partner with them.
Well, thanks for coming down. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Howard.
You bet.
And don't go away. We'll be right back with more Long Beach Treasures.
One of the things that I like the most about Charter's cable pipeline is the fact that we no longer have to utilize our telephone lines for internet service, which for us is a godsend. Another thing that is excellent is the fact that it dials up in a matter of seconds. There's no waiting for the dial tone, there's no waiting for unfortunate busy signals, and it's there. It's accessible to us right away within a few seconds. And the downloading is so quick. So to us, that's a true godsend.
We all learn to discriminate at an early age. The question is, are we willing to change? Lead the fight against prejudice. To learn how, visit nccj.org. My name is Maya Angelou.
Call now to reserve your time for your holiday celebration at Mum's Restaurant.
Welcome back to Long Beach Treasures. Joining me now is Gary Lamb, who's one of the partners in the architectural firm of Interstices. He and his partner are going to be involved in this building. I've just been told. And so, Gary, give us a little idea of what might be going to happen here.
Well, the new owners are really investigating right now what the best use for the building is. There's always the office use, there's possible residential use. But I think one of their main concerns is they really want to make the connection between Pine Avenue and the Queensway Bay development. So they really want to strengthen the retail and commercial development that runs along Pine Avenue. So
now this is designated as a historical building, correct?
Right. My understanding is that the exterior of the building and the interior corridors, which have these beautiful mahogany doors and marble wainscoting and terrazzo floors, they're beautiful.
And I know down on the Pine Avenue side down there, there's an arched opening, which I believe used to be the entrance to the Pike and the beginning of the Walk of 1,000 Lights.
Exactly. That used to be the entrance to the Pike, like you said. And, right now that could be just used as access way to some of the commercial spaces down there. But, it's a very prominent element of the building.
On top of the building, there's an octagonal tower, and I believe there used to be a 50-foot tower with a lantern on top. Is there any thought of maybe reproducing that?
Right. The new owners are very interested in, just examining what it would really take to put this lantern and tower back on. It was a beautiful element, but I guess after the 33 quake, it either had significant damage and was taken off. But they're, really investigating that. They think it would be a nice addition back to the old building.
Now, when I do my downtown walking tours, and I do this building, my notes say that this is California eclectic or Mediterranean Art Deco. Now, as an architect, I don't know if you would agree with my assessment or not.
Sounds good to me.
Well, they said the Art Deco would be the step massing as it is terraced down the beach in order to take advantage of the ocean view for many of the upper floors.
Right. It's a beautiful building. The whole terracing of the building is quite amazing because there's so few floors that are identical on the project.
Now, I also have a picture of this building, and these two large areas here in my picture used to be plate glass windows.
Right, and we're examining now with the structural engineers, and these don't appear to be any kind of a seismic retrofit, so the possibility that we could open these back up, this could be a future restaurant and retail space, would really bring life back to the corner of the street here.
How about retail space along the Pine Avenue side there?
Right, as you go down the hill, there used to be retail spaces that had steps up into those, so same thing, we want to look at bringing that back and really making that a lively part of Pine Avenue again.
I noticed some of the classical elements here would be the quoining on the sides of the building. You have the pediment up there on brackets and the broken pediment here with the face of Neptune in the middle. Those are some of the classical elements that would be incorporated into this building.
Exactly, there are some schemes, and I'm sure we'll see some pictures of that where the building, actually the coining that comes down the side was painted a contrasting color to the body of the building. So, that's one of the other issues really to develop and examine is what the final colors would be of the building.
It made it stand out so much more with a different color.
Exactly.
Let's go in and look at the inside.
Okay.
Okay, Gary, this is terrazzo flooring. Is this going to remain?
Yes, and we're trying to keep this throughout the building. It's the exact same pattern on the office floors, so it's really beautiful.
One thing I love about this building are all of these old photos that they have along the glassed encasements here.
Right, they really give you a sense of what the Pike used to be and what this whole area of downtown Long Beach, how much activity and energy used to be here.
And it gives you also a sense of how much we've lost here in the city of Long Beach over the years, because not too many were early preservationists.
Right, very true.
And now this is a mahogany wood here.
I believe so. And this is carried through onto the upper floors in the office doors and, like I said, the marble wainscoting in the upper floors.
As we go back to the back half of the hallway here, the walls are all marble. Is this unusual for a building of this type, a commercial building?
It really is. This is a very upscale office building, and you'll see when we go to the regular floors, just the same marble wainscoting that is carried through the typical office floors. It's a very, like I said, upscale building, the corner of Pine and Ocean, one of the pop spots.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, this was the first building built on the ocean side that was entirely for offices.
That's my understanding too. And another unique feature about this building is it's got the parking built into the building. So they were really thinking ahead back when they built this in the 20s. It's got 2 levels of parking.
Where shall we go and look now?
Let's go to one of the typical office floors, and then we can go out on one of the roof decks so you can actually get kind of a panorama of what's happening here.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Okay, Gary, this is a typical floor here in the building, and I noticed that they have the terrazzo flooring up here also. Is this throughout the building?
Exactly. Throughout the building, these beautiful terrazzo floors, which are in excellent shape, with the marble wainscoting and the mahogany doors, with the beautiful obscure glass in the doors. So it's quite unique for an office building for this detail.
I didn't realize how long it is. This is such a long corridor.
This is one. I think the building is about 170 feet from the Pine Avenue side down to Seaside Way. So it's quite a long building once you get on the lower floors. The upper floors are really, really small.
Are they?
Yeah.
Let's go out on the balcony here, and we can get a lay of the land and
Okay.
see where we are. Now this gives you an example of what we meant by step massing as the levels go down to take advantage of the ocean view.
Exactly. This is a very interesting building. Like I said, it's just a maze of staircases that transition through the building just for exiting, to go from the really small floors to the medium floors to the large floors.
The caps on the sides of the building at the top of the coins almost look like medieval turrets.
Right, just the little crenellation, similar to what the Walker Building has had restored. And a lot of these, if you've seen some of the old photographs, you used to have flagpoles coming out of each of the tops of these little
With their
turrets.
battlement flags on top?
It could be, yeah. I think they were Edison flags out at the top or something.
You get an excellent view up here, don't you?
Oh, you do. You get really an idea of the whole Queensway Bay project, the Camden's project, and the aquarium.
I didn't realize how big that project is over there.
It's quite large.
Well, this is quite spectacular. I'm looking forward to great things because this has always been one of my favorite buildings here in Long Beach. And I guess the reason it's always been my favorite building, when I went through docent training to do the downtown walking tours, this was the first building that I was assigned to talk about.
You learned all the stuff about this one first.
I did indeed.
Right. It has beautiful steel windows, which, those would just need to be, restored a bit, but it's an incredible building in relatively good shape.
Wow, Gary, this is impressive. Now, tell me what's up here.
Well, this is the old mechanical room. You have your boilers, you have your elevator equipment, you have some vent shafts from the entire building, and it's really interesting because it shows the whole structure of the building, the huge concrete beams and the poured-in-place concrete, board-formed concrete, and the big circular vents where they used to be, years ago, were probably open just for ventilation for the whole system. But it's interesting to hear all the clanking of the actual elevator equipment.
Now, are you going to have to retrofit this?
Same thing. That's being examined right now as to really how much work the elevators need, because this is just old mechanical systems. So, I'm not sure really what their life is.
Is there anything up here that would indicate where the old tower used to be?
Right over here, there's a ladder. This ladder that goes all the way up.
Oh.
There's an opening at the top, and that goes onto a flat surface where the old tower used to be. Wow. So it's, like I said, very, very interesting to get into this kind of a space, which you rarely get into this.
Have you been up there?
Not yet, right? One day. It's pretty high.
All right, let's go down and to the lower level.
All right, let's go.
Okay, now we're on the lower level here, Gary.
Right, this is the Pine Avenue lobby. It's really confusing. Sometimes you get in the elevators and it says Ocean Boulevard, Pine Avenue, and you kind of equate them the same, but this is actually the lower lobby, which comes right off of Pine Avenue. Which has
They've got some great murals here, don't they?
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful photos showing the pike and rainbow pier. Beautiful.
Now, what's this going to be?
Same thing. If this, the idea is to keep this commercial or retail, and this would just be one of the entrances to some really nice commercial retail spaces.
I can't believe what good shape this floor is in. This is original?
Yes, original. Just amazing that, you know, built in, what, 29, that you could actually get, this would stay in such good shape.
And by the way, I guess we should mention that the architects were Meyer and Holler,
Right.
who did your Walker Building.
They did the Walker Building.
They also did the Grauman's Chinese Theater and the Egyptian Theater up in Hollywood.
Correct.
And they were responsible for the Millbank House, which now houses the Long Beach Museum of Art.
Exactly.
So they were quite well known.
Very, very much so.
Do you have any idea how this building fared after the 1933 earthquake, other than having the tower taken off?
It seems to have fared pretty well. I know they had to come back in. We have some old plans that show some shear walls that were added after the 33 quake, and like I said, the tower that they had to take off. But in general, I think it fared quite well. They built these things like tanks.
And so this floor will then be commercial?
Right. And I think it's just an essential link between what's happening down at the Queensway Bay and also all the Pine Avenue shops. And I think this building could play a really key role in, you know, tying Upper Pine with Lower Pine in the convention center.
There is the linkage theory that people are trying to put together to connect Pine Avenue with the
Queensway Bay, right.
Right.
And it is just a missing element that I think that, you know, people, you know, in the city and just local folks really need to get behind, because it's you know, this is this huge block of, if it doesn't get developed properly, it is just this missing segment.
I'm glad to see that it's going to be rehabilitated, because it's been neglected for a while and it was starting to show its age a little bit. So
Yeah.
with it being refurbished, why, it's going to be another shining jewel here in preservation for the city of Long Beach.
Right, and the new owners really love historic buildings. They own quite a few buildings in downtown Los Angeles and I think in other cities around the country. So they really have a love for this building.
They must be preservationists at heart too, to rehabilitate a historic building like this.
I think so.
We need more of them.
You're right, we do.
Well, Gary, I want to thank you. This has been a pleasure, and I want to come back after you finish doing whatever you're going to do and take another look at it, because certainly this is a Long Beach treasure. And as I said, this has always been one of my favorite buildings, and I'm really glad that something is going to happen. Great. And I'm looking forward to shops along Pine here, because that would be a perfect place to showcase some businesses.
Right. I think we're all looking forward to this just happening and being one of those nice linkages.
Gary, thanks.
Good. Thank you, Harvey.
And we'll meet again.
Right. We will.
And be sure and join us again next month as we take another walk through history and uncover more Long Beach treasures.